Hey everybody, welcome to the Capture Scratch podcast, where we explore the worlds of film, television, and the creative process. I'm Mike, and I'm joined by my awesome co-host Joey. And we've been on a little bit of a busy streak, the two of us. We haven't forgotten about you guys, and I hope you haven't forgotten about us. But yeah, we've been a little busy. I know Joey's been running around like crazy. I've been running around like crazy doing a lot of projects. I went to Chicago again, and I'm actually heading to Las Vegas in a couple weeks. So,
ooh, very fun.
Yeah,
you know, it's a spring. I mean, what can you expect? You work graduations, I work at a school. It's almost like predetermined that we're going to be drowning at this time of year. So I'm feeling very lucky. We are meeting right now, and we caught you between your many, many trips. How was Chicago again?
It was great. It was great. I actually, my Uber driver driving me from the airport to my hotel got pulled over, so that was fun. And the cops were asking me what was in my big long tripod bag, and I'm like, I'm a video creator. I have tripods in there, and they were like poking around, and it was just a simple traffic stop. The guy was fine, and he just had I think he made an illegal turn or something, you know. But the Chicago PD, they're doing their jobs, but it was like I felt like I was like. Oh, but anyway,
what brought you over there? What was the project?
I was recording a trade show. Exhibitors at the show will, buy like a media piece, because then they put it on the company I work for is called Connect Media, and they put it on their YouTube channel and their website and stuff like that after the fact. So they basically, hire me to be able to capture the video and do all that. And basically, I have to have a super small rig and run around the trade show floor, because they're, one can be filmed at one area, and then you have to run all the other side of the, the trade show. And it's at the McCormick Center in Chicago. So that, if anybody from Chicago knows, it's a pretty big convention center. So, running from one side of the convention center to the other with a rig. I mean, I had a great crew of producers and other folks helping us out. So I was able to distribute, like, you take that rolling case and you take that, just grab the camera and let's get rolling. So I had some help taking stuff around. So because I had my small kit, like we talked about in that previous episode last year when I went to Chicago for the first time. So
how do you split it up? Do you hire people who come up with their own stuff, or is it that you're bringing stuff for the whole team? How does that work?
So I'm pretty much the only one doing video. I'm the only one doing video, so I have to just create the entire kit, and I have it down to a personal item, which is my camera backpack that has my two Canon cameras and all the peripherals, the two Atomos recorders and everything with them, their rigs and stuff like that, the Omnia rig that I have and all that stuff. And then I have a smaller carry-on that basically has like the microphones and lenses and V-mount batteries, which are all under 100 watts hours, as you guys may remember from our last year's episode talking about flying with, or actually no, we did a recent episode this season, right? About traveling.
Yeah, I don't think it was too long ago that we talked about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe two or
three.
So
I was, I didn't have any of I actually went through, and I told you this, Joey, I went through security both times, and they didn't even have to check my bags. I guess they must have seen that they were under 100 watt hours with the size of the lithium core or whatever through their x-ray machine. They just let it go through both times. I didn't get a stop. So I was very impressed by that.
Now, your TSA pre-checked, right? Is that correct?
Yes. So it was a smooth sailing through TSA. It was great. And yeah, they went through it through the scanner, and I went through the scanner fine and everything. So it was good. Yeah, it was a solid traveling event there.
Very cool. And will this Las Vegas trip be something similar?
Yeah, it's the same company, and then the show is Infocom. So basically, they do a lot of actually, there's a lot of audio brands that we know, like Shure and Electrosonics and stuff, and companies like that go there. And while we know them for their microphones and all that sort of stuff, they're more like, that show is more about like security, video for security reasons and broadcast and stuff like that. So it's still a really interesting show. Like I walked by again, like I said, the Shure booth, and the Sennheiser has a booth there, and like it's cool. I know these names, and I'm using these products right now, like for video capture. But it's not like NAB, or I guess it is like NAB, but it's obviously it's a bit of a different AV show. So and they do it in Orlando, which is where I went, Orlando last year, and then they're doing it in Las Vegas this year. So they every other year I think they swap back and forth. So I'll be going to Florida.
That's
again
really
next
fun.
year. And yeah, no, it's really cool. I like, they're a great great company, the one that I'm working for, and these shows have been really, really great. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, man. How about you? How's your, you've been working at Choate and doing a lot of crazy stuff there. How's what kind of projects
know,
you're working on?
Those kids, they're crazy. They got me running around. Spring sports itself is always a challenge, but this year we've been working on our web redesign. So we've been collecting assets, working with a couple different teams on photo and video on that. And
Nice.
Got to work personally with the video team, working with, I believe it was Canon C70. I hope I'm not wrong, and I hope that because if they see this, so they'll definitely laugh at me for making that mistake. But it was really fun experience working with them. They're a great team, and it's really fascinating to see what groups are able to capture with very limited time, very limited volunteers, and just see them work their magic. So that was really cool. I have been teaching a nature photography class this semester.
That's awesome.
I took that on. That's been pretty fun. It's just been subbing for somebody, and it's been wonderful. I love it. I really love the population there, the community, and being able to actually teach the kids something that we love and that we talk about all the time. It's been really rewarding, and I can already tell I'm going to be very sad. We have our last day. Tuesday. So we got final projects and we're done, and that's probably going to be the end of my teaching journey, since it was just hey, we need somebody to get in there, and I'm excited to get back into my normal role and just get my normal responsibilities back underway. But it's been a crazy and also an amazing spring. But I'm just excited. I've been having a hard time keeping up with any media. I managed to watch Invincible. I totally missed Project Hail Mary, unfortunately. I saw The Devil Wears Prada, and I saw Back Rooms last night, actually.
Oh, you did? That's awesome. I want to see Backrooms real bad. So
yeah, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I will say I had like pretty visceral reaction. Even just the imagery was just like, this is very uncomfortable the whole time.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
have you seen
really
Kane
fun.
Pixel's original, like the Backrooms YouTube short series that he did?
I've started to check it out a little bit.
Yeah,
Just pieces, not the whole thing. I haven't seen like a full episode of it or anything.
Yeah. Oh no, it's like really awesome. Like the way that he was a teenager when he made that, and then he's 20. I think he's 20 now, and it's like he's able to make a feature film with A24 about that that series, and obviously adapt it from what you just said, adapted very well. I've been trying to stay away from spoilers and stuff though too. So I appreciate you not,
I get you.
Not going too
I
deep
get
into
you.
it.
I wouldn't want to ruin it for you. Also, I mean, we got and talking about young directors, we got him, and then we got the guy who also made Obsession, who I believe is also in his 20s, I think.
Yes, Curry Baker. Yeah.
And I still have to see that, and I'm hoping and praying I make it to the theater before it gets out. But there's a bunch of other things coming out too, so I'm a little nervous that we're already past the popularity hump, because that's usually the wave I try to ride, and I missed it. Oh, you know what happened though last night? One more thing I want to say about Backrooms. At the end of the movie, the theater was pretty full. And that doesn't usually happen in my local theater anymore. It's kind of died down with popularity. But you know what happened at the end of it is everyone started clapping, and I couldn't believe my ears. And it was just really cool. It was like to see
That's
just
awesome.
the general audience be really proud of the movie. And I'm like, yes, because I think what we want to see is quality and originality, and that movie had both. And I'm really can't wait to hear what you think. I can't wait for you to see it so we can talk about it.
I know I gotta get my butt into a theater seat and see that, because I unfortunately didn't do that with Undertone, and I'm actually really pissed about that, because that's the theater experience for that very audio centric film. I missed that one. So like I've been again, like you said, I've been really bad with media though. Hokum, I have not seen it, but I watched. We talked about this a little bit on Instagram, but I have seen the Caveat. I saw it a long time ago, and I recently rewatched it. Love that film by Damian Murphy, I think his name is. And he did one in 2024 called Oddity. And I just watched that one when I was in Chicago, and loved that. It was so great, and he's got a good sense of like creating the sense of dread through like thematic. He uses the Irish folklore really heavily in his films, and he also kind of creates a world too. Apparently, a lot of I won't spoil anything, but a lot of Easter eggs from his his 2 feature films. And also, he made a short back in 2013. They all kind of like have like little Easter eggs about all the other films. So I actually am like super stoked to see Hokum too, and I really, especially also everything. Again, I'm trying to stay away from too many spoiler territory stuff, but everything I've been seeing online has just been so great. So
I have 2 movies this summer that I'm absolutely not gonna miss, and the first one is The Odyssey, because I love The Odyssey and I love Chris Nolan, so I just feel like there's no way I'm gonna miss him. And the second one is Disclosure Day, because I am pretty darn sure that movie is a secret sequel to Close Encounters. I don't know if you've seen any of the trailers, but a lot of the ships that they featured in the trailer and a lot of the creatures that they've shown so far look very much like they're the ones from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So it's like something makes a lot of sense. A UFO movie by Steven Spielberg, like why would oh man, how cool would that be?
Oh yeah, it's it's just kind of like he again when filmmakers kind of again you don't want it to be too on the nose, but like when filmmakers are able to like incorporate different Easter eggs from their previous films and previous works into their films, I love that. That's just so cool. And not even like Easter eggs, like in this particular case, like this is very much like you said, like it's like literally like a spiritual successor to a Close Encounter. So like I think that would be that's awesome. That's definitely pretty cool.
I really think it could be. I really think it's. I mean, I don't think we're gonna see Richard Dreyfuss because nobody in Hollywood likes him anymore. But I do think. I feel like it's. I think it's related. I think it's a directly linked movie. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe like the same universe, just different characters, kind of deal. Like that's always fun, when you kind of keep it in your contained world there that you've already built, in the previous. Especially when the property that it's building from is like 40 years old.
My thought maybe even more. Maybe it's like 50 years old.
It was 50. Late 70s, right? Was when that came out.
Yeah. So that's kind of crazy to think about.
Hot damn.
Maybe the disclosure is the disclosure of the contact that they made in Close Encounters, and I'm just like the only thing I would love to hear in the movie is if we hear that tune that played in the original. Just think, and I'm glad I haven't heard it in the trailer, if it is true, because I think that'd be a really fun, like, oh my god, they did that, moment in the theater.
Well, that would be like the confirmation that we, it's like when okay, there you go.
Exactly. So, nobody would be surprised anymore. It'd be like, oh well, it's okay, it's directly
it's clearly
tied,
linked now.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So,
oh man,
Joey, before we get too much farther, I do want to kind of get into. So we're talking about, for everybody, we had our nice little intros and we were talking about our pop culture stuff, but we're going to be talking about our perfect cinema rigs, as perfect right now as we got right now. But I had a little side tangent that I haven't even told Joey about yet. So we have been talking. Joey and I have been messaging back and forth about the Canon FD lenses and how much we really love them and how awesome they are. And we each have the 50 mil. And we love the glass, love the look, all that good stuff. But I recently ordered on eBay the 24 mil 2.8 SSC and the 35 f2 SSC. And I did just get the 24, so very similar build to the 50. And
it's beautiful.
It's very much. Yeah, it's awesome. It's got like the Canon FD look and everything, but the real icing on the cake is I wanted to show you my 50.
Whoa! Look at that.
3D
so
printed cinema housing.
That's so cool.
Creator called Mountain Breeze Studio. I will link his info in the show notes. And so this is, and I mean, the lens cap was my design, actually. It's a prototype. I'm going to put a 50 on there for the actual one, but it was just a prototype one. But everything else was his design. So it actually gives you still access to the aperture numbers and everything, and also the focus distance. And this ring too has says Canon FD 50 mil, and then it has all the focus Well, because Mark, so it's a little. I mean, they're like 3D printed in, so like they're kind of visible, but it's probably obviously better to be able to see the, the focus of. Anyway, he did, and he also has models for the 24, which I haven't printed yet, and the 35. So I'm going to do those two when they. He also has one for the Helios, so I have the Helios, and I'm going to probably mount that in there as well. So I that was the big surprise, was that
That's
now
so
my
neat.
my FD, my 50 FD is ready to go on a cinema. Actually, let me just, this was actually another surprise here. That's it on my Komodo.
That's
And,
super cool.
Yeah, so it looks, and obviously, like, you can see from my other photos when we talk about the perfect rig that I do have follow focus that can go right on there and be able to pull focus and all that good jazz. And he has he also suggests putting on like step up rings so you can put on filters and stuff even inside, because this what's it called, this black hood here is not like doesn't have threads or anything, so you have to put in your own step up rings and stuff like that. And he was even saying like, oh, you can put on a 72 mil outer hood and then be able to put a cap on that, but I just was like, I'll put a cover, 114 millimeter. I basically just did all the measurements and I printed it. It took me a couple of tries. I was like, kind of winging it a little bit, but that was basically again, like, I'm not opposed to like, purchasing a housing and like, supporting a creator. And it was like the ones I sent you was like $125 and it was in the EU and it's like all that jazz. So I was like, I have this 3D printer. I should be printing this myself. So found this great model on Thingiverse from Mountain Breeze Studio, and I will again link his info in this Thingiverse profile in the descriptions for if you guys have a 3D printer and are interested. But
plus it's like the lenses like that you can find on eBay is roughly around that pricing. So it's kind of like, well, I can't justify paying for a 3D mold just for something that I could, I think it's
you're buying the lens, then you have to buy that, and you basically spend double the money. Where, I mean, the filament cost on this, I think, this is the thing, I didn't really record it. I couldn't just did it, but it took like a couple of days to, not of straight printing, but of like, printing and then making sure it worked and then printing again. Yeah. And there's also a bunch of like, I had to order M4 and M5 screws to be able to screw in everything to the actual lens so that these don't like come apart. But they're actually the pieces kind of fit in very well together, and then it's just like, I guess just for making sure. So when you're using a focus pull, you're not like having it slip on and not actually catch the lens and pull focus. So it's just making sure all that stuff works as it should.
That's great, because I've been like using this for my Canon FD, and I just ordered another ring. I swear I've done this like 3 times, like the continuous circle versions of them, because I love them for my normal lenses. They're really great for using a good follow focus. But every single time I've gotten something for this, it's been too tight or it stretches the teeth. So like this one wasn't really working on it very well.
Yeah.
So, as a matter of fact, it kind of made it bend over to the side, because it has a feature to do that. But so far, like this wrap thing is the only one that really works for it, because it's the only one that I can like wrap around tight and still maintains its teeth. So I'm gonna have to borrow that once I get a 3D printer from you. So
dude, I would have no problem printing one for you too. Don't worry about that.
I might ask you to do that.
No, that's good. It's good. It's like, it's cool because like you can also like I customize. Obviously, I picked which filaments I wanted for each color, so like you could have your own color scheme. I decided I like the white and black and red, going on. And then that's the thing. I'll probably make them all white, black, red. It's kind of, you can kind of customize it to your like what looks good to you and all that stuff. So
I was gonna say, do you think you could do that for other lenses too?
Yeah, so like I said, he has them. So the 24 and 35, I'll just do the whole set, and then he has one for the Helios. So that's one of my Soviet lenses. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that build as well. And then I looked for on his because I really liked his models, and he didn't do any of the other Soviet ones. And I do want to see if I can maybe now, like after I like see the process, see how he set his up, I may try and build my own rigs for the other Soviet lenses because they're all way different shapes. And so I think like maybe I'll even in the same style as the Helios. I won't directly rip his design, but I'll probably do something similar and make them somewhat cohesive and all that.
Might be a nice new side business for you once you start really figuring it out. You might be the guy who kind of learns how to really figure that out and make it personalized for each one.
I'll make my own Crossroads customs, or something like that. And that's the thing.
So
like
cool.
he gives us the license is for personal use, which means I'm hoping I'm understanding the license correctly, but I believe it means like you can use it to print your own cinema rig, which I did, but I can't like print and sell them, or I can't sell the design. Like, go buy the thing, the model I use. Right. I think it's kind of like you use this because again, it's free to download from Thingiverse. But you want to make sure.
I feel like your understanding has to be correct. I mean, what else would it be for then? It's like, you can't use it on projects.
Why even put them up on Thingiverse, right? So
it's like, it's nice to look at.
Yeah, right. All these makerspace things, they usually say like cover under that standard, personal use license, and just kind of like you can use it to print on your printer, and that's about it, kind of thing. But, I really think it's awesome. And again, like I think I said it in my last video when I talked about my 3D printer, I just have been so enamored by all the really creative designs that people just put up for free, and like they're so helpful, and they're so they're just these things that you're like, this is an awesome thing to a problem I didn't know I had, and it's a solution to that. Again, it is a little like kind of crazy, you're just doing all this printing and whatever. But my next big thing is like figuring out how to is like all the because there's a lot of filament waste, and just like changing over filaments, it just like spits out a bunch of like old filament. It extrudes a lot and all that stuff, and then also just failed prints, and so I'm looking into like solutions for DIY, reusing filament, even if it's for like for prototyping purpose, because it's not like it doesn't have a good color. It's like a brown color or whatever. When you mix all the filaments together, it's gonna look like really weird. So just figuring out like ways to reuse it, because if you're just throwing it out, that's like waste and stuff like that. So
how much is filament? Or just, I guess it depends on whatever you're getting, huh?
Yeah, it depends. Like I have the Bamboo Labs P2S, and I kind of stick with the Bamboo Labs, like because it has the RFID that tells you through the printer like which color, like so it'll know which color and that kind of stuff. So those ones are like $22.99 a roll, and then I bought a third party. Different, because I usually use PLA for like this and stuff like that. The lens cap I have it was ABS, and it was just a generic ABS, because I was like, I'm not going to use ABS a lot, so I just got a generic one, and that one I think was like $18. So they're usually between like $18 and $23. So but yeah.
Can you tell me how that's added to your cinema rig?
It has definitely improved my cinema rig in the fact that like you were alluding to, like I don't have to worry about using gears that are like a little clunky or a little weird or could slip or that sort of thing. I did grab a set of, let me see if I have them here. I got these. I had these on before, it's kind of like what you had, but these are these have to be 3D printed. Actually, I bought these on eBay before I had my printer. These were for the 50, and they went on there. And again, it's like it works well enough, but it's just, I don't know. The lenses are so small, and you kind of have to like situate your follow focus to a weird spot. And I mean, like I said, the 24 has a very similar build to the 50, and I'm sure the 35 will as well. But just being able to say like these are all going to be like the similar, and again, these were all designed by the same person, so I imagine he did very similar, styling for each one, so they'll match the set. And it'll basically be like I can just take the follow focus off, swap lenses, and put them on. Kind of like my Athenas, and like I like having lenses that match as far as like where their lens positioning is and stuff like that. So, I think that that's kind of helped my cinema rig as well. But I've been going on about this, my surprise thing to use for a while. So Joey, if you, I'm okay with starting with your cinema rig, and then we can jump back to my Komodo.
So this is my baby.
Awesome. It's very nice and very compact. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. And you know what? The longer I do this, the more I like the more compact thing. And it makes me really, hope and pray for that S1H2 that everyone's rumored to be coming out, and hoping it's some sort of a box sort of piece or something that's more like the C50, FX3, or even FX6 or Pixis. It would be cool. But as you can see, I'm kind of going for a Pixis thing right here with the screen on the side using the Omnia. I found working with narrative stuff, it's been really helpful to the director and assistant director to be able to kind of see that. And I just try to keep it nice and light. I like having the manual follow focus. I've tried a couple of systems of electronic, and I've never found one that's been receptive to my touch in a way that I feel feels natural or that I can control well, or maybe I'm just misunderstanding. So that's why I go for that. I usually keep my open line filter on here unless it's too bright of a situation. So I got that looped in with a matte box holder over here, and then on top of that I have my case magnetic adapter, which also has a screw in, I've recently found out. So I can either do my variable ND whenever I want, or if I want to stick to the slapping on the magnetic ones, which I do find helps with vignetting or lack of vignetting, then I'll go that route. But that's what I like to do. I'm usually rocking the 28 to 70 on here more often than not, but if anything else, I would say it's a 78-300 for like sports related content that I'm getting is what's on there most often, or it's one of my primes like the 18 or the 35.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, look, I got the video. That's fun.
That's the video overview. Yeah. Awesome.
I wonder. Yes, you get the V mount there. I got my rod thing, my rod adapter below if I want to get the shoulder rig on there, which is kind of nice when you get the handles on a tripod. This little extra movement there.
Yeah.
Really well balanced.
Yeah, I was going to say that it does seem that way. And I like also how you have it, I've always noticed that there's some follow focuses that are like the two, they need the two rods. And you'll see in my rig, I like the single rod follow focus. I have one from Tilta that I use, but it's such a great way to, not have to worry about, needing both rods on there. It's kind of cool just to be able to toss just, having it on one there. Really cool.
I'm wanting more of a boxy feeling thing, and I think I'm getting over the idea that I need something enormous, and I'm getting more behind the idea of like, I think that it'd be cool to have something you can really run around with and can do a lot of stuff with, which is probably what's led me to Lumix all these years. But I just saw this one, I don't know if you've seen this camera recently, and not to get totally off topic here, but it's a camera that shoots totally an open gate. It's like a brand new thing, and it's got an OLED back screen. It looks like it's a really wide one, but it's like it shoots in 4x3 open gate like all the time.
That's wild.
I think I forget what it's called. I think that blonde Canadian guy who's really nice and usually does like stuff on FPV drones. He does like all camera equipment, but he's been kind of favoring that. He just did a review on it, and it's super neat. I would check it out if I were you. I think the only thing it doesn't have is autofocus. It was like the only big thing about it, but it was really interesting. It was a very interesting camera.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, no, I'll have to definitely check that out. That's really interesting. That's awesome.
Now, I was peeking at your pictures a little bit early, so sorry I've ruined the surprise. But I'm curious, do you still go for a manual follow focus, or did you have something on yours that's an electronic? I wasn't sure what I saw.
Yes. There. So no, for my demonstration here, I had the Tilta, because the electronic system I have is I can't remember the name right now, but it's like the red. I forgot what it's called. I'll put it up on screen. Sorry, but it's basically it's an older system. It's like I think 15-year-old system, but it's really rock solid. And it has, the cool thing is it's more of a Fizz, like it has like the hand, like if you had a focus puller and they would be doing the
Yeah.
focus. It comes with
Cool.
a thumb focus ring for a operator to use, and I did grab that, but it doesn't really like work with my Komodo. And again, we'll talk about it when I get to my rig. But just basically where I would put that, I don't really have a spot for that like thumb thing. That would be for if I was like using my Canons and I had one of those like stick handles and I was
Yeah.
like just using a thumb pull for it. And I mean, if you want to just jump into mine, we can do that.
Yeah,
right now,
let's see it. I want to look at them.
but yeah, as far as the follow focus goes, basically, I like to use on this side of the camera. I like to use this like Neatsy ball handle instead of a traditional stick handle because I feel like just being able to put my palm and hold the camera like that. Because on the other side, which let me just jump over to here. The other side, I have the outrigger handle, which I like actually because it kind of is meant to be like a handle like this, and it has the start stop button by where the thumbs the screw is there. But I actually have it tilted up like this because when I have a V mount on the back, I have my big V mount battery on the back there. I just pop that on my shoulder, and it almost turns into like a nice quick shoulder rig. And then I put my palm on the knee seat back on the other. Right here, I put my palm right on that red part on the Nisi there, and I could still then just kind of curl my hand over and adjust the focus. And and you may be like, well, why can't you just pull your focus with your hand and put your palm on the thing? Which some people do. I know people do that. But being able to have the tilter right there, I can kind of do like a finger grip over the ball of the Nitsi and get it right on the tilter and be able to do the follow focusing there. So that just really works out for me. That works real well for me there. And so just kind of going through on this side, well, I guess we'll just stick with this angle here. And, I have the Core SWX battery plate for the Komodo, and I love that. And then I have a ZG Cine. This is my gigantic 160 watt hour, or I think it's 160 watt hours, gigantic, and it runs with the Core pack, it runs. Let me switch to another angle here, but it runs. It has the D-tap on it on both sides actually, and then the Core SWX has a D-tap on it. So basically, one of the things I run is this guy, which is the Freak Show distro. It's like a distro kit for the SDI. So basically, if I were to have like a need to send a signal to a director's monitor or something like that, I would just be able to split because the Komodo only has one SDI out, so it would go into that, and then basically it goes to I use the Hollyland, so you'll see I have a Hollyland transmitter up here on this, and it's powered right now. It's powered by just for our demonstration, I powered it with a NPF battery, but I could power it with the other D-tap on the big battery there. But the main event of my of my rig here is this Horizon mount, which is up here. Actually, this is the full the full picture I was looking for before.
Here we are.
Here we are. So this is the Horizon mount in my monitor, my small HD monitor that I have here, right? And so the Horizon mount is one of my favorite. Actually, there's two of my favorites. So this is the Horizon mount, and you can actually see it better in this picture. So you kind of you see how it's mounted to the handle here, and then it kind of juts out. And right about here, there's a thumb press, you press it, and you can adjust it to different angles. So here you could flip it to a normal positioning over the handle, like a lot of people like to do here, and then you could also have it, kind of like if you wanted to tilt it, like you said, you had one that was facing, if we were like kind of looking at it from the side there, you could have it as side mounted, and also this tilts up and down. So I had it didn't 100% level it, but you can level it and make sure it looks perfect. But as long as your cables will move with it, you can adjust it into a bunch of different positions. So that's why I love this Horizon mount. It's just like so great. I actually just got it. I ordered it last year because it was like a Kickstarter or something like that, and I was like, that looks really cool. I'll put my name on the Kickstarter, and then it was again like a full year, and then I finally in April I got this guy. So,
question for you on the Horizon: does it flip upside down so you can see like as a shoulder rig? Because that's like I think my biggest issue I have with that setup is I'm not able to really kind of figure out. I don't like Magic Arms. I've yet to find any that I feel like I'm trusting that's secure there. But I'm curious about that, if that works well for a shoulder rig.
Yeah, so it definitely does. This piece doesn't really flip, but this guy flips really nicely and then spins and flips and stuff like that. So you could, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I'll put a little, in editing, I'll put a little clip of it in editing. But there's a video that the company, the Horizon, has, or Light Widow is the name of the company, that they have the guy, he's like goes from he's looking at the camera on a tripod down low, and then he picks it up and just flips it down, and he's into a shoulder rig position.
Cool.
So there is a way to configure, and again, you got to make sure your cables work with it. Like I was only able to
Yeah.
get it to do these positions here, but still, this is a lot of positions that I normally would have. And if I was in the shoulder rig position, I probably would have it just in, for the full rig, I'd probably have it something like this. Like if I was just kind of like, looking up. And again, I can even like tilt it into so it goes a little more towards the handle and kind of like adjust it. And you can really like hone in on where works best for you. So I love that.
Yeah.
And then I actually realized I didn't get a good picture of the next thing I want to talk about. But I will probably just use this. I don't know if can you see right here, this black piece right here it's actually
Yeah.
the PL to RF mount that I'm using. It's by a company called Best Filters, and they have it's basically this system is as much as like a premium lens. Like it's like I think $1,400 this whole system, because it's
Oh, wow.
it's a VND system that
Yeah.
is really great. It's amazing. And the reason I got this specific one is because I have the Athenas, like I mentioned, and the Athenas have a really long barrel, or a really long PL bracket on the back, like longer than normal. So some rear filtration systems won't work on the with the Athenas. So I got confirmation. I watched a couple YouTube videos on it, and this Best Filters our PL to RF mount clears the Athenas, clears any other PL mount lens I've used, and it's really great. And this silver piece here pops out. So right now this is the clear, right? And then it pops in, and there's an orange. It's like an orange labeled VND, and you can add in like other other strengths of VND. I think I have 1.5 to 5 strength, so it's like that kind of like general all-purpose ND, but you can get different strengths. And also I think other filters too, they have like their version of black mist and stuff like that. So
Very cool.
that's the other like highlight I love of my rig here. So this is my so far. It's a little, again, like cable management has always been my nightmare. But as you can see from this picture of the freak show, you can see that it's definitely.
I mean, I remember that time I saw underneath your desk. That time we got pulled into
Yes.
that warped reality that was messed up with our podcast. That was crazy.
Yes.
I thought you were gonna get lost forever down there. We're both so lucky we made it out alive in that situation.
I know,
was
dude.
nuts.
It's definitely we were definitely able to prevail in that situation, but
We spent a moment longer in that whatever that was. We were gonna end up in the back rooms. I swear.
exactly, yes, yeah. Oh man, yeah, man.
I love your monitor thing. I think that's my favorite piece of your rig. It reminds me a bit of You ever see that arm that comes with the RS? No, it doesn't come with the RS3. It's a very special thing, but it's an arm that's got a middle contraption that you can loosen up, so it can either be a neutral grip, but it can also flip back to be a briefcase grip. And I've
Yes.
only seen it a few times, and I'm mad at myself for not buying it because I haven't seen it in a little while. But it's like the best thing to use for it, because it's like I'm always going back and forth. I'm like, oh, do I want a briefcase or do I want the neutral? Because the briefcase is very handy, but
Yeah.
there's just sometimes I'm not in the mood to be holding it back there, and I want to have a very flat neutral grip on it. But that reminded me a lot of that. It's like, oh wow, it's so maneuverable.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and I think that's actually a key that I want to highlight about, what the way I've designed the rig for my Komodo. It's definitely built for modularity, as you suggested there. So like the Horizon mount is the key there, but also I'll even argue the outrigger handle. It has this thumb screw here, or this pull screw, so you can have it be in a normal position. And I do occasionally have it in that position. But again, like I said, I flip it up to this position a lot, because usually when I'm rigging this, I'm not hand holding it, because it gets very heavy, and it's not like very optimized like your rig. It's very top heavy, as you can see. So I like having it on the shoulder rig, and then have the Horizon mount put the actual, the monitor right in front of my face, and then I'm able to shoulder rig it really nicely in this configuration. So, just being able to be modular like that and be on the turn of a switch, be able to go from that to that. For the horizon mount, the thumb lock is great. So, just I think that's the key for, at least for my perfect rig, is the modularity and being able to on the fly.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on the set you're on. Like, especially if I'm using the Komodo, it's a set where we are, have time. Like if we were doing something narratively or anything like that, it would be like, okay, let's take 5 and do the next scene and with this configuration, right? Or anything like that. But if I was, I would never use this for any of the event work, or, because a lot of people did say, oh, the Komodo is very much that kind of camera. And I'm like, it could be, I guess, but out of any Red camera, maybe, but it's definitely, in my case, it's definitely more of like you need time with it.
Yours, it's funny. It's funny that I did the narrative this year, because I feel like your rig is definitely much more built out for making a film, where mine is kind of more like run and gun. But I do like you said, the modularity, just the adaptability to it. And that's why I really like the Omnia rig. Actually, could you run to mine really quick? There's something I completely forgot to bring up. Just any side view would be good.
Sure.
But there's a piece that I found this year that has really changed everything for me. Yeah, so it's hard to tell from there, but you know how in the Omnia it goes on backwards, like it's like a tripod plate that just slides on in there?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I got this new piece for it that's an adapter that essentially lets you put in the Arca Swiss plate that comes with the RS3. So now I'm sliding onto the side. So whenever I want to take it off, I just undo that, pull that piece off, and I can just go directly onto the gimbal now. And it's been a real game changer for me, because, and usually I'll set up the gimbal to be ready. My top handle too, as you can see, that's where my monitor is attached. My monitor is not even attached to the camera itself. So I'll pull off the follow focus and the Rode, but those are both very, very quick to pull off and not required to take screws out. So it's just is like magic now. It just comes right off. Or like if I'm filming in the weekend and I like to use my camera for a lot of different photo scenarios at work. It's like, oh, that morning, just one switch and I just pull it off and it's ready to go.
And you're ready to go with photo. And I think that's great too. I mean, and I think also that's another thing to highlight, is that the Komodo is just a cinema camera only. It's not, you're using Lumix cameras, which are innately hybrid, and so being able to have like a thing where it's a rig perfectly rigged out when you need it to be, and then you can pop the camera out individually and be like, I'm taking photos now, and I'm going on a gimbal now, or anything like that. I think that's really important to be able to do. I
do think if I do go for the S1H2, and if the rumors are to be true, people are saying that it might be less megapixels. I think it might be, from what the rumors are, and who knows what will happen. Who knows if I'm going to be eating my words in season 3. But I do think it'll be much less of a photo camera and have kind of a softer look to it. So I don't know if it'll be as adaptable once I'm going for it. But I do right now. I mean, I think my S5 IIX, I really do love it for the packed video features it has. And I think its photos are kind of a little secret weapon that people aren't totally aware of, because I think the colors on Lumix they're not Canon, but I think they're very special, and I think it makes people say, oh, what'd you shoot this on? A lot. So I really like that look.
And that's the thing, like, I feel like we've gotten so spoiled with how good cameras are. It's like, it used to be Canon was the top dog because Canon colors, like, you're just like out of the camera, they're great, right? But camera companies, Canon, Panasonic, Sony, Fujifilm, whatever camera company you pick, Blackmagic, whatever camera company you pick, you're going to get a great image. And I think it's more now about how, and again, this kind of ties everything together. You and I shoot on completely different systems, whether we're doing narrative for, I shoot Red, you shoot, your stuff. And then I also have my Canons. And again, I'm a camera, nerd at this point. But no matter what you shoot on, it's just about how easy is it for you to get that image, and how seamless for your clients is it, to get an image from you, right? Like, so if you're spending all this time, breaking down a rig or whatever, or like you're like, I have to go to a completely different setup and you're spending time doing that, then that like slows production down, and it like adds extra time, and it also, or cuts out time, and you don't have, so basically all cameras seem like they're able to get really good images now. And obviously that's not like, oh, it's just magic and turn on, not like an iPhone, you just hit it record. It takes practice and years of practice and understanding of camera techniques still.
Yeah.
But you're going to get a pretty great image no matter what camera you're using. It's just kind of like personal flavors and like, what does the camera have at this point? But I think now the real question is, how can we rig them out? And again, I think that's also personal taste too. Like sometimes, I love, again, I mean, I'm picking something very specific here, but like I love the Horizon mount, but some people may be like, oh, it's kind of awkward having to use that thumb thing and turning it around and whatever. Like, so it's like, okay, it's not for everybody, right? But
I also think it's fair to say, like, it changes over time too. It might be the perfect thing for you right now, but you might find a better tool, or you might find something in your workflow that's not working with it anymore. Like I don't know how many times this year I spoke about my case magnetic filters, but in the past month I've been going back to variable ND, and I'm like, man, it's really nice to just be able to turn that thing and get it to be darker rather than having to slap a new one on, and it's a big time saver. So it's just like, I think it depends on the situation. And it's like, I think it's why we kind of coined this series the Quest or the Perfect Cinema Rig, because it's like it's kind of never over. It's like you're always kind of adding to it, and it's also kind of part of the fun.
Exactly. Yeah. And it adds that little bit of personal touch to it, and saying like, because I think deep down, us as filmmakers, we're also kind of tinkerers, where, we have engineering minds in a way, because we're like, I want to make something that is optimized for getting this beautiful image, right? Like at the end of the day, most people aren't going to know what you shot something on, right? Or unless they watch our show, or,
right.
But they're gonna see the image that you get out of it, and they're gonna, like, in the final product, when they're watching the film or the video or whatever media you put out, they're watching that, and they're, so your rig, it 100% matters for you getting it. But at the end of the day, it is, if literally just the camera, lens, and you're hand holding it with 3 points of contact works for you, that's great. But if you have a super built out rig like you and I do, then that's also great. So I think, that's, again, like you said, it's the quest for sure. It's never ending. It's constantly evolving, but it's also, it's personal taste and what's going to get you the best image, you out there that's worrying about not having the Horizon mount, or not having, the follow focus, or not having the Omnia, don't worry.
Let's call it what it is. The glass is what's giving it the look, anyways. After all that,
we'll swap out the camera brains as many times as we want. It's like I'm keeping my Athenas for like 10 years, or I'm keeping, the.
I really want to borrow those from you if I can.
Oh, hell yeah, dude! They're great lenses. I love them. And our, the FD, that's again why I'm doing this 3D printing project, because I'm gonna have these lenses for a long time. So.
They're great lenses. I do love the look of the FT, and I'm glad you and I are cooking up some plans with some FT looks. So I don't want to give anything more away here, but soon some stuff might emerge out of
yes, and some mini-sodes may happen with that. Hopefully, maybe we get some help with that.
We'll need a lot of help. It's manual focus. What else? We need help.
Exactly. Awesome.
Yeah, but also, I just want to say, it's been a great season with you. Really sad that it's coming to a close, but I think we had some great conversations. I'm very excited for what's to come. But
absolutely, Joey. It's been an excellent season 2, and looking forward to season 3.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening to the Capture Scratch Pod. If you enjoyed our episode today, please subscribe, like, and comment to chime in on today's conversation and today's topic and what you think of cinema rigs. Until season 3, watch some movies, film some shorts, and always remember to check your Capture Scratch. Thanks for joining us this season, guys.
Thank you, guys.